but also we're really interested in measuring leaf level, functional traits, as well as spectral signatures. And we sort of try to put all of this data together with the ultimate goal of making some high resolution maps of various aspects of plant biodiversity to help us understand how biodiversity is changing. And so we do this at a number of selected field sites in Canada. So we have 5 main sites. And so far we've worked at the 4 sites that are shown on the southern part of this image. So a site in BC, a peat bog in Ottawa, a temperate forest and boreal site in Mont-Mégantic, and a temperate grassland in Île-de-Boucherville near Montreal. So the only site that we have not worked so far is our site in the Arctic that you see on the top part of this image here in the Yukon, but that's planned for next year. So I put on the Slack channel the progress report that we submitted in October to NSERC. So for those of you who want to know a little bit more about what happened this year, obviously this year, it's a year that was, we had many challenges due to COVID. And so NSERC have been really good this year, and they've asked us for sort of a small report that's focused on the main challenges that we faced in COVID. So I'll just briefly summarize what those challenges are. So one of the main thing in terms of data acquisition for us was that we could obviously not go to the Yukon. So we had planned a big Arctic field campaign. So that's postponed now to next year. It led to some other disruptions to various field work. We could do some field work, but it was a bit more difficult. There was some imagery planned that particularly at Saint-Bruno. Unfortunately, that could not be done this year and will be postponed. In terms of lab work, it led to about 6-month delay because labs were shut down for a number of time. And of course, we have all this challenge of working remotely, and that was particularly important in terms of new people coming in the team, a number of postdocs, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. And we had some challenges as well in terms of recruiting people, and especially people coming from overseas. So NSERC has been really good, and they allowed us to an extension, a 2-year extension to use our funds until 2023. So not new funds, obviously, but at least it gives us a bit of time to make sure that all of the goals are met. So I just want to thank everyone for all the extra work. I know it's been a difficult year, and I'm really looking forward to hear your talks today. So CABO has a number of sort of modules that are tied to particular research goals. And so I'll introduce some new people that are tied to these goals. So Joanna Jensen is, sorry, I'm using my screen here. Okay, sorry. So Joanna Jensen is a new postdoc that has just completed her PhD at University of Florida, and she'll be joining the module understanding the phylogenetic structure of leaf spectra. So she'll be working closely with Anne Bruno. She just started in October, and her expertise is in diversification, niche evolution. So really excited to have Joanna join the team. She's not going to present today, but you'll hear from her later on. In terms of the second modules and the second sort of big goal, which is how to distinguish plant species from leaf spectra. So we had a number of master's students working on that. So just a few updates. So Alizé Girard has completed this summer, and so she's no longer part of CABO, but she had a really successful master's thesis that was published. So Rosalie is in the middle of writing up her thesis that will be submitted probably in early January. You've heard from Rosalie at the last meeting. And we have a new master's student joining, well, actually, Juliana actually worked for CABO last summer. And she had planned to do, she had started a big field campaign in Panama on a project outside CABO looking at leaf spectra. Unfortunately, that was canceled due to COVID. She had to be brought back to Montreal in March. And luckily we had some data, CABO data, and so she just took on a new project where she'll be looking at invasive Phragmites and leaf spectra through time, and she'll be talking to us about this later on. So we have a new postdoc as well in the module where we tried to predict traits from leaf spectra. So Sean Kotari, you've heard from Sean last year at the meeting because he he presented a chapter of his PhD thesis that used CABO data. So he completed his PhD at University of Minnesota this summer. So he started a postdoc with me in August, and he brings to the project particular expertise in plant physiological ecology and particularly photoprotection. Christine Wallace, a new postdoc as well in CABO. So she's joining sort of the module where we try to map plant species and traits at a slightly larger scale. So she completed a PhD and a postdoc at University of Marburg in Germany. She's now a postdoc with Mark. She arrived in September, and she brings to the project particular expertise in multispectral remote sensing of plant biodiversity, particularly in the tropics. So Anna Schweiger left us, unfortunately, well, not completely. So she's been a postdoc since early 2019 with us. So she's now, until December 2020, she's part-time with CABO, but she started a new postdoc at the University of Zurich. So congrats, Anna. And she's completing a big analysis using neon data of sort of relationship between plant spectral diversity, taxonomic and phylogenetic diversity across biomes. And she will be presenting that work in a few weeks on November 24th as part of the first postdoc-led seminar series that Sean has taken the initiative in organizing. So thanks, Sean. Another exciting thing as well that happened this year is Guillaume Larocque. So he works for the QCBS, Quebec Center for Biodiversity Science. And he's been working 2 days a week for CABO. And he's made some really good progress in developing a leaf spectra and eventually leaf trait data portal that makes it easy to sort of explore our data, but also share it and download it. So Guillaume will present a talk later on today about that. Plans for 2021 was, I won't mention everything, but the big one, of course, is the Arctic field trip that's been postponed. And maybe one benefit of not having had the field campaign this year is that it allowed us actually to recruit a new PhD student. So we're very excited about that. So Madeleine Anderson, welcome to the project. She'll be starting in January 2021, just completed a master's at University of Western Ontario, looking at sort of mercury and leaves. And she has a lot of field experience in the Yukon. So that's very exciting for next year. I just want to mention a few stats. I presented that last year. I just wanted to give a little bit of update. Unfortunately, I don't have all the data, but of course, equity, diversity, and inclusion is is something that's really important for the project. And I know it goes well beyond gender in terms of sexual orientation, ethnicity, religion, age, disability, and so on. I just want to say that it is very important for the project. There's absolutely zero tolerance for any form of discrimination, but I just wanted to give a few stats about gender, how we're doing. In terms of PIs, obviously that's fixed, so 40% female PIs. But a big increase this year was postdocs, so we had a number of new female postdocs, so we're now 3/4 female in terms of postdocs, and graduate students about the same. I don't have any data right now for undergrads and technical staff, so unfortunately I cannot provide you an update, but at least from the gender equity perspective, I think we're doing pretty well and actually better than last year. I just want to finish on this exciting project and a sort of a new collaboration that's starting with CABO. So two of our collaborators, Janine Cavender-Barris and Phil Townsend, has received funding from the NSF for a large 5-year project and $12.5 million US. And the goals of their biodiversity integration institutes are actually very much aligned with the goals of CABO, and we've already started some collaboration and interaction. So I'm very excited what the future holds on that front. So thanks everyone. We'll proceed with the first talk. Maybe just a reminder that please upload your talks later on. Doesn't have to be right now, but to the annual meeting Slack channel so that we can have access to those. And as well, of course, they're being recorded and we'll provide the recordings later on. Thank you.